Southern Miss running back Frank Gore Jr. And here's a picture of Frank's career. He finishes as the top 3 rusher in program history, over 3,500 career yards. He recorded his first 1,000-yard rushing season this year. He was named a second-team All-Sun Belt player, ran for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns against your boys from Boone earlier this year, and that was one of 3 games where he had 2 or more touchdowns. Caden, he spent all 4 years in Hattiesburg. It also included setting an NCAA bowl record in that Lending Tree Bowl by rushing for over 300 yards against Rice. And I think the big storyline here for Frank Gore Jr., obviously son of legendary Frank Gore Sr., was also the offensive MVP at the East-West Shrine Bowl. And Caden, he finished there with 6 rushes, 87 yards, had a big 49-yard touchdown. And I know he's had a great career, but you're excited about his NFL prospects.
Yeah, there's no question about it. No, I do not know if Frank Gore Jr. is going to get selected in this draft. I pray he does, but I think there's no doubt that he will be wearing an NFL helmet and will have his shot one way or another when it comes to getting his shot to play in the league. But I just don't know if there's really 259 better football players in this draft pool compared to him. You're talking about pound for pound, especially. His size isn't working in his favor, but just I don't think he's going to be necessarily an every down back, a power back at the next level. But this guy, when he touches the football, when his gloveless hands are touching the rock, whether he's throwing it, catching it, or rushing the football, what he does best. I think there's just not many players that can do what he does when he has the ball in his hands. He makes magic happen. He's extremely patient, has a great feel for the game, and is extremely elusive. And I think when it comes down to players like him and a lot of other skill players in his position, that 40-yard dash is going to be huge for him in this combine. When you don't have that size at the level, necessarily the NFL level, you have to bring that speed to the table. And I think if he can rip off a fast 40-yard dash time, I'll have a lot more believers. But overall, I think I'm just very curious to see how his level of versatility and his play style translate to the NFL. He kind of looks like Cody Paul sometimes, if people remember those old high school mixtapes of guys kind of just running laps around people, and you don't really see that translate to the NFL level or not. We saw it translate in the East-West Shrine game when he took the MVP of that game, playing against a lot of college football's best players. So I believe he had more stock added to him with that performance, but I think he can continue to add to that stock with a very strong physical display at the combine, maybe ripping off a 4.4 kind of 40, 4.5, 40-yard dash.
Yeah, I think that would be huge for Frank. Obviously, participating in things like the bench press as well and continuing to show that strength. Obviously, going up against NFL caliber talent in the future during a career in the league, it'll be interesting to see how he holds up health-wise, I think, in the pros. But obviously, an electric player in college, and, you love his ability to avoid tackles and be able to break big runs. So I think those are things that probably have NFL teams and general managers salivating when it comes to Frank Gore Jr. But Caden, from what I'm hearing right now, I think Frank Gore is kind of a possible day 3 selection. I'd be shocked to see him go higher than maybe a 6th round. And I think the big reason for that even is that pedigree. We mentioned his father, Frank Gore, and obviously his exploits at the NFL level. So I think that could definitely play in the favor of Frank Gore Jr. here. But I think right now, if you had to ask me, just from what I've read and some people I've talked to, he feels a little bit more like a likely 7th round or even an undrafted free agent as we head into combine week. So I think it will be important for Frank Gore to have a big NFL combine. You mentioned the 40 there, I think will be key for Frank Gore Jr.